Hey everyone, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle a huge question today. Have you ever felt like our schools are maybe not quite set up to help kids thrive? We're going to dig into some powerful ideas from the book Schools That Learn to figure out not just what's broken, but how we might build something way, way better. And it all kicks off with this really surprising fact about our own brains.
So, the brain downshifts under stress. Think about that for a second. So much of our school system is built on pressure, right? High-stakes tests, constant deadlines. But the science is super clear on this. That kind of stress literally makes it harder for us to learn. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if the very system we've designed to educate is actually getting in its own way?
All right, so before we can imagine something new, we've got to understand what we're working with now. And that means taking a hard look at the old model, what you might call the school assembly line.
You know that feeling? I bet a lot of us do. Whether you're a student, a parent, or a teacher, that feeling of stress, of pressure, that nagging sense that school just isn't working for every single kid. It's like everyone is trying their absolute best, but the system itself is just stuck.
So what exactly is this old model? The book uses this amazing metaphor, the assembly line school. Think about it. We say we want students to be creators, to be in charge of their own learning. That's the ideal. But the reality? Students often get treated like products on a conveyor belt, just passive objects being moved along, stamped with information, and shaped to be exactly the same as the one before.
And the consequences of this? They're huge. First, you get kids sorted into boxes. You're smart, you're dumb. It's so limiting. Then there's this big assumption that every kid learns the exact same way, which we all know is just not true. And this one is key. Motivation stops being the student's job. Suddenly, it's up to the teacher to make them learn, and that just kills natural curiosity. So what happens? Kids are stuck. They either figure out how to cope and play the game, or they just check out entirely.
And here's the really wild part. When this assembly line starts to fail, when the products aren't meeting the standards, what does the system do? Does it question the machine? Nope. It just tries to speed it up. More homework, more standardized tests, less room for creativity. It literally doubles down on the very things that are causing all the stress in the first place.
Now, it's really important to say this is not about blaming teachers or principals. Not at all. They're often just as trapped in this as anyone. The real problem goes way, way deeper. It's about a whole mindset, a set of invisible assumptions that were born in the machine age. And to really get this, we have to talk about something called mental models. Basically, these are the stories and assumptions we all have in our heads about how the world works. They're like our internal programming, and a lot of the time, we don't even know they're there. That's the key. The assembly line school isn't just a building, it's a powerful mental model that's been running the show for over a century. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Every organization is a product of how its members think and interact. All the stuff we see, the schedules, the rules, the curriculum, it all comes directly from the thinking behind it. So if you want to change the school, you can't just tinker with the rules. You have to change the thinking.
Okay, so we've taken a good look at the problem, but now this is where it gets really exciting. Let's talk about the solution. If the old model is a machine, what's the alternative? It's time to shift our whole perspective and see the school not as a factory, but as a living organism.
So just ask yourself this. What if a school wasn't a machine at all? What if it was something alive? I mean, really, truly alive. Not like a factory, but more like a garden or a forest. Something that grows and adapts and is constantly changing.
Let's just put these two ideas right next to each other. On one hand, you've got the machine metaphor. It's rigid, it's all about control, everything is standardized. But on the other hand, you have the living system metaphor. It's adaptive, it's all about how things are connected, it's collaborative. And this changes everything. A school stops being a place that just processes students, and it becomes a place that is, itself, learning. Because that's what happens in a living system, right? Every part is connected. In a school that truly learns, everyone becomes part of the ecosystem. We're talking parents, teachers, students, administrators, people in the community, everybody. You're no longer just cogs in a machine. You're all part of this community, recognizing that you're all in it together.
Okay, so that sounds great, but how do you actually do it? How does a school make that huge shift from a rigid machine into a vibrant, living thing? Well, it's not magic, it takes work. It means building a new set of core practices.
The book boils it down to a few key disciplines, which we can simplify into 3 core actions. First, you have to cultivate aspiration. Then, you deepen conversation. And finally, and this is a big one, you learn to see the whole system.
So let's unpack that a little. Aspiration, that's about having a shared vision. It's about asking, what do we truly want to create here? And connecting schoolwork to what a student actually wants out of life. Conversation, this is more than just talking. It's about really listening, challenging those hidden mental models we talked about, and actually learning together as a team. And seeing the whole. That's the magic of systems thinking. It's about moving beyond the blame game and starting to see how everything is connected.
Now, I know this can all sound a bit abstract, but when you see it in action, wow, the results are incredibly real, and they're so inspiring. So for this last part, let's look at what's actually possible when a school starts to truly learn.
My brain popped open. That's a direct quote from a student named Raphael, and you've got to hear his story. He was a high schooler, completely disengaged, basically on his way to dropping out. But then one class, just one class, changed everything for him.
So what happened? His teacher used a systems thinking approach to study Shakespeare's Hamlet. Instead of just reading the words on the page, the class actually built a computer simulation to explore the characters' relationships and choices. And for Raphael, seeing this old play as a dynamic, living system, that was the spark. That's when his brain popped open. He re-engaged with school, his grades shot up, and he rediscovered a passion for music that set him on a brand new path.
And this isn't just a one-off story. In another school, they broke down the walls between the classroom and the community. 10th graders could pick something they wanted to learn and find a mentor in town, a carpenter, a publisher, a chef, and make that one of their classes. Suddenly, education wasn't just happening inside the school, it became this living social process woven into the life of the whole town.
And that's really the point, isn't it? When we shift our mental model from the machine to the organism, the entire environment changes. The school becomes more humane, more creative, and just plain more effective for everyone. It stops being about processing kids and starts being about connecting them to their passions, their community, and to life itself.
So that leaves all of us with a final question to think about. As we look to improve our schools, what is our fundamental goal? Are we trying to be mechanics, just tuning up and speeding up a faulty machine? Or are we trying to be gardeners, cultivating the right conditions for life to flourish? The answer we choose, well, that's going to shape the future of learning for generations to come.